Welcome, listeners. It's been a long time since I've been out of literary Goa programs, and I'm coming back with a bang today. With me, we have an unusual guest. We don't do enough of translators, and translations are very important to cross different languages. Carlos is a friend of ours who has been an architect, a musician. He's based in Margao. So I want to introduce to you today Carlos Gracias, who is with us in the studio and who's done a couple of books and more, which at least two of which are well known here. Carlos, tell us about your work in translation. I know you come from a different field. We'll talk about that later. But tell us about why you got into translation and what are the challenges of being a translator from Portuguese to English. The other way around also.
Yeah. Yes. Why I got into translations is because I was not too happy with architecture. I started practicing architecture around 1984. And around the year 2000, I was like not too happy. So I had to find some way out of some other way of income. In 2001, I started playing music in the hotels. And in 2004, all of a sudden, I got into this translation, mainly of property documents. But also I do certificates from Portuguese to English, English to Portuguese. And then I did 4 books, including this too.
So tell us about the 4 books. Of course, I know this book because we've been associated with it, Battles Waged, Lasting Dreams. It's the biography of Aquino Braganza. And yeah. Aquino Braganza was?
He was a freedom fighter in Africa. So this is written by his widow, and I don't remember how she came to me, but I know that a cousin of hers is a friend of mine. So maybe Filomena Dias, maybe through her she got to me.
Actually, just to make the point, Aquino in this photo is with Julius Nyerere, and in this photo is with Nehru and things like that. So he was really big time in Mozambique. So after he took part in the liberation struggle, one of the few Goans who supported the black liberation struggle in Africa. And he actually died in a plane crash which killed the first president of Mozambique, Samora Machel.
Correct.
So he was a big name and things like that. It's quite a heavy book and quite a serious book because you have many aspects of his life, many world leaders talking about him and intellectuals and all. What were the challenges in translating this book?
It was my first book, so I don't think there were any challenges as such, but it was my first book.
It takes a lot of time to translate, not easy.
It does take time. In those days, I was didn't have that much work, so it was okay. Filled up my time, and so I think Sylvia used to send me by email, and then I used to send the translation back by email.
Do you find it convenient to use any computerized tools like Google Translate to help with the translation?
Yes. Now I do Google Translate, which is very useful, and a lot of people say, Google doesn't translate correctly. Of course, say 10% may not be correct, but the rest is excellent.
Google Translate is, of course, this automated translation machine, which is not a substitute for humans, but it can be an aid. And Correct. Then, of course, the human eye goes through it, which is your eye.
In fact, I would say Google is the main thing, and you only aid the translation.
Yeah, but the human can never be replaced in that. It should not be replaced.
Yeah, but some passages which Google translates are unbelievable.
Really good?
Yeah. They get the gist and translate
better than
average person.
Google
they don't go into that literal thing. They take the content and translate in good English.
Google is getting better all the time because they are accessing documents from all over the world and those kind of things. There's just news that it's going to work for Konkani soon. There's going to be a Google Translate for Konkani. But coming back a bit, you were lucky that you grew up in a Portuguese-speaking world in Goa and Mozambique, right?
Yeah.
How so?
My parents were in Africa, so I was born in Africa, and came down in 1966 after Goa's liberation, of course. But I think it's my knack for languages.
I see.
So having a knack for languages,
Not everyone has it.
Yeah, not everyone. Not everyone who's been in Mozambique can speak Portuguese or or translate.
What are the languages you picked up and are fluent, confident in?
Now Portuguese, English, I can communicate a little in French, Spanish, of course. I can communicate.
Konkani,
of course. Hindi. And I learned Russian also about 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Because I used to play in the hotels, so the Russians didn't speak English. So, and just then a course was offered at Chocolate College. And I did the Russian, and I'm proud to say that I found 3 mistakes in the textbook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've written in this book, actually, your we'll come to this book later, but your biography features and your autobiography, and it talks about your life in Goa in the seminary, and then moving back to Mozambique. Can you give us a gist of what happened? I guess our generation was caught up in this intense decolonization process, social change, uncertainties of the 60s, 70s particularly. Can you tell us how it played out?
Yeah, so actually we came in 66 on a long holiday. And I was 11 at that time. And 4 months later, that is in April 67, I liked Goa. I fell in love with Goa at first sight.
Really?
We came by ship from Bombay to Panjim. At the Panjim dock, I fell in love with Goa.
Wow.
And I remember my first question to my mother, all those shops had Portuguese names. So I asked her, but the Portuguese have left, how come those names are still there? And then my uncle had come in 2 cars and we drove to Margao. And I fell in love with that. And I also liked my mother's side of the family. They're all very jovial and gregarious and all. And I thought of joining the seminary, staying back. Of course, I had 2 priests and 1 bishop in the family. My mother.
The bishop is?
Fortunato Vega Coutinho.
From Margao?
Yeah.
From Belgaum?
Belgaum, yeah.
Who passed away in a road accident?
Yes.
Okay.
That they were my mother's brothers.
I see.
So for 6 years I was in Saligao and I didn't see my family. Then for the first time in 73, I went to Africa, visited the parents. There I changed my mind. And 6 months later I came back. And I had still not disclosed. But I told the family I'm going to do SSC and then go back. I'd already got admission in the Papal Seminary in Pune. So I did SSC in 74 because October 73 I could not answer. 74 March I could not answer because of lack of attendance.
I see.
I answered in October 74, came first in Goa, second in the Pune board.
I see.
And then 75 I joined architecture in Ahmedabad.
Architecture was in CEPT.
CPT.
Which is a very prestigious architectural college. How was that there?
It was nice. Yeah, I think better than, I don't know much about other colleges, but we had a lovely campus. Of course, we had B.V. Doshi as our head. He's a world-renowned architect.
Founder principal?
Yeah.
B.V. Doshi.
Correct. Balkrishna Doshi, who later got the Pritzker Prize and many other prizes.
Wow.
It was a nice campus, quite liberal.
When you shifted back to Goa, was it difficult to adjust to India, to Goa, to the rest of India?
You mean from
Mozambique, and because of your background as a Portuguese speaker and things like that, or were you fluent in English already?
No. When I came to Goa, I knew only Portuguese. So when I joined the seminary, I knew only Portuguese. So
it was tough.
It was a little tough because the boys didn't speak Portuguese.
The priest spoke.
The priest spoke, and most of the seniors. But in my age group, hardly anybody. There was a couple of guys from Daman who spoke Portuguese. And there I learnt. In the first year, we had Latin, we had English, and Konkani, I think. And I was prodded through because my uncle, Father Lucio, was very famous. So
Lucio Vega Coutinho.
So they had to push me through.
I see. Interesting.
I even remember in the Konkani exam, it used to be an oral exam, three priests. So they asked me the...
Roman or Devanagari script or Roman script?
No, Roman. So they asked me the gender of Birant. So I think I said masculine, then I said neutral. So one of them said Kosli Birant. I said, feminine. Okay. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like trying to push me through.
No, I mean, those were tough times because there was a language shift also going on there. And in your case, you made the most of your language skills to be a translator. I did an interview once with Xavier Cotta, and I'm waiting to do Augusto Pinto at some stage. But as a translator, what are the challenges you face? What are the kind of help that you feel translators need? Have we built up this sector enough? Are we tapping this Goa multilingualism to make the most of our translation skills?
Yeah,
Any
I
questions?
would suggest that the government come up with some training for translators. Now, see, recently they put out, we are all registered with, originally it was with the Department of Official Language. Now we are with the Archives and Archaeology.
I see.
And recently they put an ad for those who wanted to register and this and that. They put us through an exam. And then there were too many conditions and, I got out of it. But instead of that, if they had some course for translators, like, there are certain things which we don't know and we have no access.
In terms of like,
some words, some technical words.
you mean guidebooks, dictionaries, all these
Yeah,
resources are required?
Yeah. Or sometimes it's something which is a Goan specific word.
Even in Portuguese, no? Embedded in Portuguese.
Correct. Which we do. Like, take for example, aforamento. People say aforamento, but actual thing is amphitheosis. If you go to Google, it's called amphitheosis.
Amphitheosis implies lease?
It's a grant, yeah. A grant of a land for use. In fact, right now I have one client who, she told me, no, but I don't know this word amphitheosis. I like aforamento. Can you put in brackets? I said, okay. I put it in brackets, aforamento. Yeah. So certain things are that.
What else could the government do? What else could society do? What else could the educational institutions do for translators?
I would think only this. But the problem is the government itself, they themselves don't know. No? So at the most, they can tap people like Advocate Fernando Colas and those guys who would know, the older generation advocates, and have something,
Actually, when I was reading Peter Nazareth, he mentioned the famous anthologist of Goan writing. He mentioned that Goans have written in 13 different languages. And while putting together a list, I found that they had written in 18 to 20 different languages. And then I discovered that actually I had forgotten or overlooked languages like Catalan and Esperanto. So that makes it at least 22, at least, that we know of. So this shows the kind of multilingual society we are in. Would you agree that we are not doing enough to promote translations? Loaded question.
Yeah, probably. Because government does nothing. This very exercise of registering translators was full of flaws. And then when we approached the government to give us a hearing, they refused point blank.
I see.
And through some influence, we got a meeting. And we had this meeting, quite a long meeting. And then they said, no, everything overruled. Whatever we say is the thing.
So coming back to your books, tell us about the books you translated so far. Apart from Battles Waged, Lasting Dreams, which was your first. And
the first.
Once Upon a Time in Goa is your last.
Last one, yeah.
What was in between?
In between, I did, the second one was also by a freedom fighter, Eduardo something, I forget his surname. It was called De Todos Faz País. That means a country is made by everyone. So he was another guy who fought, but I think the difference between Aquino and him is that he fought on the ground. Aquino was more at the diplomatic level. No? This Eduardo, I think he fought
Goa?
on the ground. No, in Mozambique.
In Mozambique?
In all over, Angola, Mozambique and all that. Yeah.
I see.
I tried to get the...
You translated from Portuguese to English?
Portuguese to English.
And the third one?
Third one was simultaneously with this one, the last one.
Okay.
It was called Taprobana. It's a historical novel about Sri Lanka. The Portuguese and the Dutch and the British, whatever, the fights and all this.
Taprobana was the old name for Sri Lanka.
Ceylon, yeah, Sri Lanka.
And written by?
Written, I think this guy is Eduardo. The other guy was something else.
Okay.
So Eduardo something.
Mozambican? Mozambique?
No, he is a Portuguese. Portuguese. He came to me through, I think, Sylvia.
I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What are the kind of translations you do and you prefer? Do you prefer literary translations? Do you prefer technical translations or legal or what?
Everything is welcome.
I see.
Yeah. Now see, technical translations are a easy job because
Yeah,
it's just
it's small and it's fast money. And
fast money.
where
money
these
and
are big jobs.
big jobs. Yeah.
Take time.
And take time, and you have to put your mind to it. Though of course with Google, it's like almost like a cakewalk.
Yeah.
But technical translations, they are basically the same. You have descriptions, inscription, matris, and all that is mostly the same.
Do you feel that we could be doing something to build a Portuguese language in Goa today, or is it too late?
I think enough is happening in the schools and colleges. No? I'm not sure what's happening in there. But I know my sister is a teacher of Portuguese, teacher meaning private. And she has got a highly loaded, very many students.
I see.
She in fact even refuses. Yeah. All happened suddenly when a cousin's daughters were learning Portuguese and they needed a tutor. So she started there, and today she's got like roaring.
There seems to be a sudden rise because of this interest in Portuguese passports and land documents and whatever it is. So I don't know.
No, I don't know much what's happening there, but I've taught Portuguese at home as a conversational language.
As a conversational language?
This was around the time when I stopped architecture.
I see.
Early 2000s.
And how long time do you think it takes to learn the language, basics?
At least 6 months. Also depends on the person to person. No?
Yeah.
Some people have a knack, some people, and Portuguese is not an easy language.
Why?
It's a very kind of, vast structure and grammar, very vast. Very vast. Unlike Portuguese, unlike English. Even French, I would say, is easier than Portuguese.
Really?
Yeah. Portuguese has got you have accents and you have a lot of things you have to learn. Cedilha, when you put cedilha, when you don't put cedilha.
Many people seem to be wanting to learn Portuguese. In fact, friends in France and all over the place are asking, but they look at Goa as one of these places which might be a more affordable option to learn Portuguese. It may not be great, but it's accessible. Because in Europe, it cost a bomb.
Yeah.
So, do you think that there are possibilities on that front?
I'm not aware.
Okay.
But I'm sure Goa will be more affordable than Europe.
True. Tell us about Once Upon a Time in Goa. This was the book you translated quite recently. So, this is...
So Joaquim Correa, first of all, was very nice person to work with, and we are still in touch. And it was also very interesting to learn so much about Goan music and all the whatever was happening in those.
Joaquim is Portuguese, but he's been keeping track of Goan music.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Correct.
Very strange, no? And he knows more about it than many of us do.
Yeah, correct. But it's mostly about the period, I think, around
50s, 60s?
Pre-liberation and all that kind of thing.
Tell us about your music.
Yeah, my music, okay. I learned piano and violin in Africa. Then I came down in the seminary, I did again piano, guitar. And somehow I wanted to be a musician. But my parents were against the idea because, music is...
Canton.
No.
Associated with alcohol.
Associated with alcohol. Anyway, so I actually got going in 2001. Before that, I tried here and there, but never succeeded.
This was in the hotels in 2001?
In the hotels, yeah. In fact, I remember, I must have been on holiday, so probably 79, a friend and I, Hotel Metropole in Margao.
Yeah.
There used to be these 6 Germans staying there from Mandovi Palace. And there used to be one Mr. Viegas who was the cook and manager. So we asked him, can we play and all that. So he told us, yeah, go to the table. So when we went to the table, one of the guys was in a bad mood and said, please go and play your music somewhere else.
That was the first experience?
First and only bad experience.
Only bad experience. Yeah. Wow.
Then in 2001, it got going steadily. and I played till around 2017.
Your music is mostly Portuguese.
No, everything.
Okay.
We do everything.
Guitar.
Guitar, I sing also. So English, Portuguese, instrumentals. I played with mandolinist and violinist, that kind of thing.
You have you shared some of your music on YouTube. I know you're sharing a lot on WhatsApp, which we do
Yes,
appreciate.
yeah.
On YouTube also?
YouTube, no.
No. You
Not
should.
yet. Yeah.
You should.
You have been trying to help me, but I've not.
No, at some stage.
Yeah.
It's important. It's because we really appreciate your music on WhatsApp.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know that you're active in this Mozambique Goans network.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it's nice to be in that group, though it's not very active.
Okay.
But it's nice. You meet a lot of people.
So, what was Goan life like in Mozambique? What do you remember of it?
Life was good. We lived out of the city about 5 or 6 kilometers, but of course studied in the city, and the city was nice in Beira. And every Sunday evening we used to go to the local club.
Movies? No.
No, local club, where socializing took place. Yeah. So overall nice. Yeah.
Any problem in dislocation when you all shifted back or settling back? Did you find Goa difficult to cope with like many expats do? Or
No, I don't think so.
you said you loved it at first sight, which is
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
which is strange. You were how old that time?
11.
11.
Yeah. Only certain things kind of baffled me, and I think still baffle me.
What?
Like, for example, people don't wish each other, like when they they just...
They just pass you by. Whereas
Yeah. I mean, even if, like, say, if you're working in an office, let's give an example.
Yeah.
The office I used to work in when I finished architecture or something.
Yeah.
So the boss comes, he doesn't say hello, he just goes straight into his desk. I mean, that's something which still baffles me, yeah. And
there are
people,
these niceties which vary from place to place in that sense.
Correct.
You're supposed to wish someone. In some parts of the world, even you meet a stranger in the morning, you would be expected to say good morning.
Correct,
So,
like in England.
yeah.
In England, you go for a walk in the woods, somebody crosses you, you say hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those things are... in fact, I remember once a friend of mine who also was in Beira, he went to Portugal and he came back and he said, oh, there in the hotel, when you go down for breakfast, everyone says good morning, good morning. Here, no, you just go like, other people don't exist.
What is the problem with practicing architecture in Goa, apart from being boring? I mean, maybe working in one career for too long is boring, but apart from that, any problems in practicing architecture? What didn't you like about it?
I think I'm a more desk-oriented person. So going to site for me was a total paranoia. No? I mean, seeing all those things in a disarray, all this, things under construction, I never liked that.
I see.
I don't mind the desk work, the designing and that kind of thing. Otherwise, I think there's no problem. Of course, authorities are always a bit of obstruction in terms of permissions, getting permissions and all. I don't know about corruption because I don't face corruption, but to get one thing done, you have to go again and again to the office. And
in terms of translation from here, where what would you like to see happening?
Whatever is coming, I'm happy.
Books?
If books come, I'm fine. Normally, I have this property documents. Right now, I finished that process of afforament.
I see.
Yeah. I see. So whatever comes is welcome.
Would you suggest translations as a career for young people or no?
I think that is a good scope because since all our property documents are in Portuguese,
right,
there is still good scope. And I think, yeah.
On that optimistic note, Carlos, Gracias, thank you so much. And thanks for sharing time with us. I've known you for many years. First as an architect, but more as a musician, and then as a translator also. It's fine. It's been fun knowing you, and thank you for coming here and sharing time with us today.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
And I must always thank you for your support.
Not support. That's the least I can do. I mean, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.